The observatory was silent, save for the faint hum of electronics and the occasional clatter of Alexander's notes being shuffled. Nestled on a remote mountaintop, far from the light pollution of the cities, the observatory was Alexander's sanctuary. Here, surrounded by the vast expanse of the cosmos, he could delve into the mysteries of the universe, his passion for astronomy fueling countless sleepless nights. Alexander leaned over his telescope, meticulously adjusting the focus. His eyes, sharp and filled with curiosity, scanned the heavens. The Andromeda Galaxy had always held a special place in his heart. Its beauty was unparalleled, a sprawling tapestry of stars, dust, and cosmic wonders. Alexander had devoted years to studying it, hoping to unlock its secrets. Tonight was no different. As he pored over the data from his recent observations, a peculiar pattern caught his attention. A series of objects, moving with increasing velocity, appeared to be on a direct path toward Andromeda. He frowned, his fingers flying over the keyboard as he analyzed the data further. His heart raced as the realization dawned on him: a meteor shower, larger and more intense than any he had seen before, was imminent. The trajectory was unmistakable, and the potential for devastation was immense. Andromeda, with its advanced civilization and breathtaking landscapes, was in grave danger. Alexander's first instinct was to warn them. He knew that Andromeda was inhabited by a highly advanced and peaceful alien race. They had long fascinated Earth scientists with their sophisticated technology and rich culture. Alexander felt a deep sense of responsibility to protect them, to ensure their survival. The next morning, as the sun's first rays crept over the horizon, Alexander was already at his desk, composing a detailed report. He meticulously outlined his findings, including the trajectory of the meteors, their estimated time of arrival, and the potential impact on Andromeda. He appended his report with all the data he had gathered, hoping it would be enough to convince the authorities at Earth's primary space base. With the report ready, Alexander dialed into the communication network that connected Earth's observatories and space bases. The screen flickered to life, and he was soon face to face with a stern-looking official, Commander Harris. "Professor Alexander, what is the nature of your emergency?" Harris asked, his tone impatient. "Commander, I've discovered an imminent meteor shower that is headed straight for the planet Andromeda. My calculations show that it will hit in just a few days. We need to send a warning to the Andromedans immediately," Alexander explained, his voice urgent. Commander Harris raised an eyebrow, his skepticism evident. "Andromeda? That's a long way from here. What makes you so sure of your findings?" Alexander took a deep breath, steadying himself. "I've attached all the data and calculations in my report. The evidence is irrefutable. We cannot afford to ignore this. The lives of countless beings on Andromeda are at stake." Harris glanced at the report briefly before shaking his head. "I'm sorry, Professor, but our protocols require multiple confirmations before we can act on such information. We have no corroborating data from any other sources. Without that, we cannot justify sending an alert to another planet." But Commander Alexander began, but Harris cut him off. "That's my final decision, Professor. I suggest you focus on more immediate concerns within our own system." "Good day." With that, the screen went blank. Alexander sat in stunned silence, the weight of the rejection settling heavily on his shoulders. He couldn't believe it. How could they be so dismissive? The threat was real, and there was no time to waste. Determined not to give up, Alexander decided to take matters into his own hands. He spent the next few hours devising a plan to bypass the official channels. If the space base wouldn't help, he would find another way to reach Andromeda. His fingers flew over the keyboard as he hacked into the deep space communication network, a risky move that could have serious repercussions if discovered. But Alexander was driven by a sense of duty and desperation. He crafted a direct message to the Andromedan authorities, detailing his findings and urging them to prepare for the impending meteor shower. To the esteemed leaders of Andromeda, he began. "Men, my name is Professor Alexander from Earth. I have urgent information regarding an imminent meteor shower that poses a significant threat to your planet. My calculations indicate that it will strike in just a few days. Please review the attached data and take necessary precautions to protect your people." Die. Satisfied with the message, he encoded it with his most advanced encryption to ensure it reached its destination securely. As he initiated the transmission, he could only hope that the Andromedan authorities would receive it in time and take his warning seriously. The following days were a blur of anxiety and anticipation. Alexander barely slept, his mind constantly racing with thoughts of what might happen if his warning went unheeded. He knew that Andromeda's fate now rested on the slender thread of a message sent across the vast expanse of space. The message from Earth reached the communication towers of Andromeda during the quiet twilight hours. The planetary communication hub, an architectural marvel of crystalline spires and luminous orbs, buzzed with the usual hum of interstellar exchanges. The alert that flickered on the chief scientist's console was unexpected, a transmission from an unregistered Earthling source. Dr. Linara, head of Andromeda's Astronomical Research Division, was the first to review the message. With a furrowed brow, she skimmed through the urgent warning about a meteor shower. She hesitated, her fingers hovering over the translucent console. The name Alexander was unfamiliar, and the data accompanying the message, though detailed, lacked the formal verification she was accustomed to. Her assistant, Kiro, leaned over her shoulder, curiosity piqued. An Earthling predicting a meteor shower. We've had no such indications from our own observatories. Linara nodded, her silvery hair catching the ambient light. Indeed. It's unusual. Earth's technology is advanced, but for them to spot something we haven't, her voice trailed off, contemplative. Shall we disregard it, Kiro suggested, though his tone carried a note of intrigue. Linara shook her head. No, we can't afford to ignore any potential threat, no matter how unlikely it seems. Let's cross-reference the data with our sensors and see if there's any merit to this claim. The verification process began in the vast observatory, a dome that housed some of the most sophisticated astronomical instruments in the galaxy. The ceiling, made of a transparent alloy, provided an unobstructed view of the cosmos. Linara and her team worked tirelessly, feeding the Earthlings' data into their systems and comparing it with real-time observations. Hours turned into days, and the initial skepticism began to wane. The data patterns, though initially incongruous, started to align with subtle anomalies their sensors had missed. Tiny deviations in asteroid trajectories, slight fluctuations in the gravitational field, small, but significant enough to warrant further investigation. Linara's heart raced as the pieces of the puzzle came together. She called an emergency meeting of the Andromedan Council, a group of the planet's most esteemed scientists and leaders. The council chamber was an awe-inspiring hall with walls adorned with historical cosmic events captured in ethereal holograms. As Linara presented her findings, the room buzzed with hushed whispers and concerned murmurs. The council members, known for their wisdom and cautious decision-making, listened intently. We've cross-verified the data provided by the Earthling, Alexander Linara began, her voice steady but urgent. Our initial skepticism was understandable, but our findings now indicate a potential meteor shower heading our way. The probability of this event occurring is higher than we anticipated. Elder Zoran, the head of the council, leaned forward, his eyes sharp. And you're certain of this, Linara? We've never faced a threat of this magnitude without prior notice from our own systems. Linara nodded, her conviction unwavering. The Earthlings' calculations are precise. We've confirmed the anomalies in our own data. We must take immediate precautions to protect our planet. Finally, on the third day, a response arrived. The screen lit up with a message from the Andromedan Council. Alexander's heart skipped a beat as he opened it. Professor Alexander, the message began. We have received your warning and are currently verifying your data. Initial assessments suggest that your predictions may indeed be accurate. We are taking precautionary measures and will inform our citizens immediately. Your timely warning may have saved countless lives. We extend our deepest gratitude. Relief washed over Alexander, followed by a sense of profound satisfaction. His gamble had paid off. The people of Andromeda were taking his warning seriously, and preparations were underway to mitigate the damage from the meteor shower. As he sat back, exhausted but content, Alexander realized the true impact of his actions. Despite the obstacles and the lack of support from his own kind, he had managed to make a difference. The lives of an entire planet's inhabitants were now a little safer, thanks to his determination and quick thinking. Little did he know, this was only the beginning of an extraordinary journey that would take him far beyond the stars and into the hearts of the Andromedan people. The council deliberated, weighing the risks and implications. The decision was unanimous. They could not afford to dismiss the warning. An emergency broadcast was issued, alerting the citizens of Andromeda to the potential danger. The planet's defense systems were activated, and shelters were prepared to accommodate the population. The response was swift and efficient. Andromeda's cities, renowned for their elegance and harmony with nature, transformed into fortresses of resilience. People moved with a sense of purpose, guided by their trust in the council's judgment and the hope that their preparations would be sufficient. As the preparations continued, Lenara couldn't shake the thought of Alexander, the Earthling who had gone to such lengths to warn a distant planet. She admired his dedication and hoped their paths might cross someday. But for now, her focus was on ensuring Andromeda's safety. The days leading up to the meteor shower were tense. The skies, usually a canvas of serene beauty, seemed ominously still. When the first meteors began to streak across the heavens, the planet held its breath. The defense systems, a marvel of Andromeda engineering, sprang into action, intercepting and neutralizing the larger fragments. Despite the initial skepticism, the people of Andromeda were now fully aware of the danger they had averted thanks to Alexander's warning. As the final meteors burned out in the atmosphere, leaving behind only minor damages, a collective sigh of relief swept through the planet. Lenara watched the skies clear, a profound sense of gratitude filling her heart. Alexander's message had not only saved their world but also bridged the vast expanse between two distant civilizations. She knew that the story of this unexpected alliance would be remembered for generations to come. In the aftermath, the Andromedan Council drafted a message of thanks to Alexander, acknowledging his pivotal role in their survival. As the message was prepared for transmission, Lenara couldn't help but feel a sense of connection to the Earthling who had reached out across the stars, proving that even in the vastness of space, the actions of one individual could make a monumental difference. In the heart of the city, the Council of Elders convened in their grand chamber, a circular room with walls adorned with holographic depictions of Andromeda's rich history. The elders, distinguished figures draped in robes of deep blue and silver, gathered around a central table that projected a 3D model of the planet. At the helm of this meeting was Elder Thalora, a wise and revered leader with silver hair cascading down her back like a waterfall of starlight. "Thank you all for assembling on such short notice," Thalora began, her voice steady and commanding. "As you know, we have received a warning from a distant planet, Earth, about an imminent meteor shower. Our scientists have confirmed the accuracy of this warning, and we must act swiftly to protect our people." The room fell silent, the gravity of the situation sinking in. Each elder exchanged glances, the weight of responsibility heavy on their shoulders. Elder Thalora spoke up, Arian, a younger elder with sharp features and a mind renowned for strategic thinking. "We have initiated the standard protocols, but given the scale of this event, we need to implement additional measures. I propose we activate the planetary shield and evacuate vulnerable areas." Thalora nodded thoughtfully. "Agreed. Let us divide our efforts. Elder Arian, oversee the activation of the shield and ensure its optimal functionality. Elder Lyra." She turned to another elder, a woman with a calm demeanor and an extensive background in emergency management. "Coordinate the evacuation plans and establish safe zones across the planet." As the elders set their plans into motion, the city outside mirrored their urgency. The usual hum of daily life was replaced by the sounds of coordinated efforts, alarms signaling the activation of the planetary shield, emergency broadcasts instructing citizens on safety protocols, and the mobilization of rescue teams to assist with evacuations. The planetary shield, a marvel of Andromedan technology, began to shimmer into existence, a translucent dome enveloping the entire planet, designed to deflect smaller meteors and reduce the impact of larger ones. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly in the control centers, monitoring the shield's integrity and making real-time adjustments. In residential districts, families packed essential belongings and gathered at designated evacuation points. The air was filled with a mix of apprehension and determination as parents reassured their children and neighbors helped one another with heavy loads. The Andromedan spirit of unity and resilience shone brightly in these moments of crisis. Meanwhile, high above the planet, in the orbiting space stations, astronomers and meteorologists tracked the approaching meteor shower with meticulous precision. Their screens displayed a swarm of celestial bodies hurtling towards Andromeda, a sight both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Communication lines buzzed with constant updates, ensuring that ground teams were informed of any changes in the meteor's trajectory. As the hours passed, the preparations reached a fever pitch. Elder Lyra coordinated with local leaders in remote areas, ensuring that even the most isolated communities were reached. And the Andromedan Air Fleet, a collection of sleek, advanced ships, patrolled the skies, ready to assist in any emergency. In the midst of this orchestrated chaos, there was a moment of quiet reflection for Alexander. He watched from a safe vantage point, marveling at the efficiency and unity displayed by the Andromedan people. His message had set these events in motion, and now he could only hope that his warning had come in time. The final hours before the meteor shower were marked by a tense calm. The planetary shield hummed with energy, casting a soft glow over the landscape as the last rays of daylight faded. Families huddled together in shelters, their faces lit by the gentle luminescence of Andromedan crystals. Elder Thalora stood on a balcony overlooking the city, her gaze fixed on the horizon, where the first meteors would appear. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her ancestors' wisdom and the hopes of her people resting on her shoulders. She closed her eyes briefly, offering a silent prayer to the stars. As night fell, the skies above Andromeda began to twinkle with the incoming meteors. At first, they appeared as distant streaks of light, but soon they grew larger and more defined, a cascade of fiery trails blazing through the atmosphere. The planetary shield sprang into action, deflecting smaller meteors with shimmering bursts of energy. The largest meteors, however, breached the shield's outer layers, descending towards the surface with alarming speed. The ground trembled as they impacted, but thanks to the extensive preparations, the damage was contained. Buildings reinforced with Andromedan materials withstood the shockwaves, and emergency teams swiftly responded to any incidents. In the aftermath of the shower, the morning sun rose once again over a planet that had endured and survived. Minor damages dotted the landscape, but the people of Andromeda emerged with minimal casualties, their spirits unbroken. The Council of Elders reconvened, this time with expressions of relief and gratitude. Thanks to our swift actions and the warning we received, we have averted a major catastrophe, Elder Thalora addressed the assembly. We owe a debt of gratitude to Alexander of Earth, whose foresight and determination have saved countless lives. A wave of applause and murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. The elders resolved to honor Alexander in a manner befitting his contribution, a proposal that would soon change his life forever. And so, in the quiet aftermath of the storm, as the planet began to heal and rebuild, Alexander stood as a bridge between two worlds, his actions forging a legacy that would be remembered for generations. The morning after the meteor shower, the skies over Andromeda were calm, a serene blue canvas speckled with the occasional wisp of cloud. The remnants of the celestial event lay scattered across the landscape, their impact minimal thanks to the timely precautions taken. The people of Andromeda, from the bustling metropolises to the tranquil rural communities, were abuzz with relief and gratitude. News of the Earthling's warning had spread like wildfire, making Alexander a name spoken with reverence and wonder. In the heart of Andromeda's capital city, Eloria, stood the Grand Hall of the Council of Elders, a majestic structure of iridescent crystals and shimmering metals that caught the sunlight in a dazzling display. It was here that Alexander was summoned to meet the planet's leaders. He arrived in a modest spacecraft, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and nervousness. The air was charged with the energy of a planet grateful to its savior. As Alexander stepped into the Grand Hall, he was greeted by a sight that took his breath away. The vast chamber was filled with representatives from all corners of Andromeda, their attire a riot of colors and textures, reflecting the diversity of their planet. The air was perfumed with the scent of exotic flowers, and the soft hum of an alien melody played in the background, soothing and uplifting. At the center of the hall stood the High Elder, a dignified figure draped in flowing robes of deep blue and silver. Her eyes, a striking shade of violet, sparkled with wisdom and warmth as she regarded Alexander. She raised her hands, and the hall fell silent, the attention of every being focused on the man from Earth. Alexander of Earth, the High Elder's voice rang clear and melodious, carrying the weight of authority and gratitude. You have saved our planet from a catastrophe that could have brought great suffering to our people. Your warning allowed us to take measures that spared countless lives and preserved the beauty of our world. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Alexander, feeling a mixture of pride and humility, bowed his head in acknowledgement. He had never sought recognition or reward, his only aim had been to prevent a disaster. The High Elder continued, her gaze unwavering. In recognition of your selfless act, we wish to honor you in a manner befitting your contribution. It is our custom to bestow upon those who have rendered extraordinary service to Andromeda the highest honors and privileges. As such, we offer you the opportunity to marry as many women as you wish from our planet. This is not merely a gesture of gratitude but a profound honor, reflecting the deep respect we hold for you. Along with this, you shall be granted an honorary title and all the rights and privileges that come with it." The proposal stunned Alexander. He had expected a simple thank you, perhaps a token of appreciation, but this was beyond anything he could have imagined. The concept of marrying multiple women was foreign to his earthly sensibilities, and yet he sensed the depth of meaning behind the offer. It was a rare and significant honor, one that carried great respect and acceptance into Andromedan society. I am deeply honored," Alexander began, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions within him. "But before I accept, I must meet these women individually. It is important to me that they agree to this arrangement willingly, with full understanding and consent." The High Elder's eyes softened with approval. "Your wisdom and respect for our people only further endear you to us, Alexander. You shall have the time you need to meet and speak with each woman. We want this union to be one of mutual respect and happiness." Over the following days, Alexander was introduced to the women who had come forward, intrigued and willing to be part of this unprecedented union. Each meeting took place in a private, beautifully adorned chamber within the grand hall, providing a serene and intimate setting for conversation. The Andromedan Council had arranged for a series of meetings. Each woman was unique, representing different regions and cultures of the planet. As the first meeting approached, Alexander felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. He wanted to honor their customs and ensure that this unprecedented arrangement was entered into with mutual respect and understanding. First meeting, Lyra. Lyra was the first woman he was to meet. She was a scientist, much like Alexander, known for her groundbreaking work in quantum mechanics. As she entered the room, her presence was commanding yet graceful. Her silvery blue skin shimmered under the soft lights, and her eyes, deep and thoughtful, met Alexander's with curiosity. "Lyra, it's a pleasure to meet you," Alexander began, his voice steady but warm. "The pleasure is mine, Alexander," she replied, her voice melodic. "I've heard much about your work and your warning that saved our planet." They sat down, and the conversation flowed naturally. They spoke of their scientific pursuits, their dreams, and their apprehensions about the proposal. Lyra's intellect and passion mirrored Alexander's own, and by the end of their meeting, they had established a connection built on mutual respect and admiration. Second meeting, Zara. Next was Zara, a warrior from the northern territories of Andromeda. Her presence was fierce and confident, her physique strong and imposing. As she entered the room, Alexander could sense her wariness. "Zara, thank you for meeting with me," he greeted her respectfully. Zara nodded, her eyes studying him intently. "I wanted to see the man who warned us about the meteors," she said bluntly. "Why did you do it?" Alexander took a deep breath. "Because I believe in the value of every life, Zara. Your planet is beautiful, and its people deserve to be protected. I did what any person should do." Their conversation was intense, with Zara questioning his motives and Alexander answering with honesty and conviction. By the end, Zara's stern expression softened slightly, and she nodded in approval. "You speak with honor, Alexander. I can respect that." Third meeting, Ilara. Ilara was an artist from the lush southern regions. Her aura was calm and serene, her movements graceful. She entered the room with a gentle smile, her eyes reflecting the creativity and depth of her soul. "Ilara, it's wonderful to meet you," Alexander said, feeling a sense of calm wash over him. "Likewise, Alexander," she replied softly. "I've heard tales of your bravery and your message from the stars." They spoke of art and beauty, of the inspiration they found in the world around them. Ilara's perspective on life was deeply philosophical, and Alexander found himself enchanted by her wisdom and tranquility. By the end of their meeting, they shared a mutual understanding of the importance of preserving beauty and harmony in the universe. Fourth meeting, Mira. Mira was a healer from the Central Highlands, known for her compassionate nature and her skills in medicine. As she entered, her presence was soothing, her eyes kind and empathetic. "Mira, it's an honor to meet you," Alexander greeted her with genuine warmth. "The honor is mine, Alexander," she replied, her voice gentle. "Your warning saved many lives, and for that, we are grateful." Their conversation revolved around their shared interest in health and well-being, discussing various medicinal practices from Earth and Andromeda. Mira's dedication to healing and her compassionate heart resonated deeply with Alexander. By the end of their meeting, they had forged a bond based on their shared desire to help others. Fifth meeting. Rena. Rena was a diplomat from the eastern provinces, known for her eloquence and sharp mind. She entered with an air of confidence and sophistication, her eyes bright with intelligence. "Rena, thank you for taking the time to meet with me," Alexander said, feeling a mix of admiration and curiosity. "Thank you, Alexander," she replied with a smile. "I wanted to understand the man who brought us such an important warning." Their conversation was dynamic and engaging, with Rena challenging Alexander on various topics and him rising to the occasion. They discussed politics, culture, and the future of interplanetary relations. By the end of their meeting, they had developed a rapport based on intellectual stimulation and mutual respect. Conclusion. D. As Alexander met each woman, he realized that his journey on Andromeda was not just about the proposal but about understanding and connecting with its people. Each woman brought a unique perspective, enriching his experience and deepening his appreciation for Andromeda's diverse culture. By the end of the meetings, Alexander had gained the consent and respect of each woman, ready to embark on this extraordinary new chapter of his life with integrity and honor. The vast expanse of Andromeda stretched before Alexander, its vibrant cities and lush landscapes a stark contrast to the familiar blues and greens of Earth. The air was filled with a faint, floral scent that was both calming and invigorating, a testament to the planet's unique flora. As he stood on the balcony of his new residence, a gift from the Andromedan Council, he marveled at the beauty that surrounded him. This was his new home, and today marked the beginning of a life unlike any he had ever imagined. The grand hall of the Andromedan Council was adorned with intricate tapestries and glowing crystals that bathed the room in a warm, ethereal light. Each tapestry told a story of Andromeda's rich history, woven with threads of gold and silver that sparkled like stardust. The ceremony of union was a revered tradition, filled with symbolism and rituals passed down through generations. Alexander, dressed in ceremonial robes that shimmered with the colors of the Andromedan twilight, stood at the center of the hall. His brides, each resplendent in their own unique attire, approached him one by one. Leora, with her deep green eyes and flowing auburn hair, represented the wisdom of the planet. Seraphina, her golden skin glowing under the crystalline lights, embodied the spirit of adventure and discovery. Ilara, with her gentle demeanor and striking silver hair, was the heart of compassion and understanding. As each woman joined him, they placed a delicate bracelet made of Andromedan crystal around his wrist, signifying their bond and commitment. The bracelets hummed softly, resonating with a harmonious frequency that symbolized the unity of their union. Alexander looked into the eyes of each woman, feeling a deep sense of connection and mutual respect. This was not a union of obligation, but one of shared values and dreams. Their new home was a marvel of Andromedan architecture, a blend of organic and futuristic design that seamlessly integrated with the surrounding environment. The walls were made of a bioluminescent material that glowed softly in the dark, mimicking the gentle light of the Andromedan moons. The windows, large and unobstructed, offered panoramic views of the rolling hills and shimmering lakes. Alexander spent his days exploring his new world, accompanied by his wives, who were eager to share their culture and traditions with him. Together, they wandered through ancient forests where the trees sang with the wind, and swam in crystalline lakes that reflected the colors of the nebulae above. Each experience deepened their bond, and Alexander found himself falling in love with not just the planet, but with the essence of life on Andromeda. The Andromedan Council, in recognition of Alexander's contributions and the unity he brought, bestowed upon him the title of Star Guardian. This honorary title came with responsibilities and privileges, symbolizing his role as a bridge between Earth and Andromeda. Alexander embraced his new title, eager to contribute his knowledge and expertise to the scientific community of his new home. As Star Guardian, Alexander participated in councils and meetings, offering insights into Earth's technologies and scientific advancements. His ideas and innovations were met with enthusiasm, and he quickly became a respected figure in Andromedan society. His wives, each accomplished in their own right, supported him in his endeavors, creating a powerful and dynamic partnership. The twin suns of Andromeda rose in a spectacular display of colors, casting golden hues over the verdant landscape. Alexander stood at the balcony of his new home, a grand structure made of translucent crystals that reflected the morning light in a mesmerizing dance. The air was filled with the chirping of exotic birds and the distant hum of Andromedan technology, a perfect blend of nature and advancement. Alexander had come a long way from his solitary observatory on Earth. The journey to Andromeda had transformed him from a dedicated professor into a revered figure, known for his timely warning that saved the planet from a meteor disaster. But it was not just his scientific acumen that earned him this new life, it was his willingness to embrace a different culture, to understand and respect the people who had welcomed him. Each day on Andromeda was a new adventure. Alexander's wives, a group of remarkable women, had taught him the intricacies of their world. Lyra, the first woman he met, was a brilliant botanist who introduced him to the planet's unique flora. She had a quiet strength, her eyes always lit with curiosity as she explained the medicinal properties of various plants. Together they spent hours in the vast gardens, cultivating new hybrids that could withstand the changing climate of Andromeda. Then there was Celine, a skilled engineer with a knack for innovation. Her workshop was a labyrinth of gadgets and machines, each more intricate than the last. Celine's laughter echoed through the halls as she and Alexander collaborated on projects, merging earthly technology with Andromedan advancements. They created devices that improved communication, enhanced security, and even developed a new system for early meteor detection, ensuring the safety of their beloved planet. Arya, the third wife, was a renowned musician whose melodies had the power to soothe and inspire. Her music was a universal language, bridging the gap between Alexander's past and present. In the evenings, their home would fill with the enchanting sounds of her compositions, a reminder of the beauty that transcends all boundaries. Alexander often found himself lost in her music, his worries dissipating with each note. Together, they formed a harmonious unit, each contributing their unique talents to create a life of balance and fulfillment. Alexander's role extended beyond that of a husband. He became a father figure to the children they raised together. The youngsters, a lively mix of Andromedan and earthly heritage, were the embodiment of their union. They thrived in an environment that encouraged exploration and learning, their minds absorbing the best of both worlds. The scientific community of Andromeda welcomed Alexander with open arms. His insights into meteorology and astronomy proved invaluable, leading to groundbreaking research and discoveries. He worked closely with Andromedan scientists, sharing knowledge and fostering a spirit of collaboration. Their joint efforts led to advancements in space travel, climate control, and sustainable living, benefiting not only Andromeda but also providing solutions that could aid Earth. One of Alexander's proudest achievements was the establishment of the Interplanetary Research Institute, a hub for scientists from Earth and Andromeda to work together. The institute stood as a testament to the power of cooperation, its halls filled with the hum of intellectual exchange and innovation. It was here that Alexander felt most at home, surrounded by curious minds and the thrill of discovery. Despite his professional accomplishments, it was the simple moments that Alexander cherished the most. The quiet mornings with Lyra in the gardens, the late-night brainstorming sessions with Celine, and the peaceful evenings listening to Arya's music. These moments grounded him, reminding him of the love and support that had made this new life possible. Alexander and his wives worked together on various projects, from exploring the uncharted regions of the planet to developing new technologies that benefited both Andromeda and Earth. Their home became a center of learning and innovation, attracting scholars and scientists from across the galaxy. Their family grew, and with it, their legacy. Alexander's children, a blend of Earth and Andromeda, embodied the best of both worlds. They were curious, intelligent, and compassionate, eager to continue their parents' work and forge their own paths. The Star Guardians' home echoed with laughter and learning, a testament to the harmonious life they had built together.